The night the ranger heard a heavy, uneven breath at his door, he never imagined it would come from the shadows themselves. A pregnant leopard, exhausted and trembling, stood under the flickering porch light as if she had crossed an invisible line between the wild and the human world. Her eyes carried pain, fear, and something else that stopped his heart cold: trust. What drove a creature known for silence and strength to knock on a ranger's door, risking everything? And why did she choose this place, this moment, when time was already slipping away? Before you find out what happened next, take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Kind vibes, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen when compassion meets courage. Ranger Arav Malhotra had lived at the forest edge for 12 years, long enough to sense when the land itself was uneasy. That evening, the wind felt wrong, heavy with urgency, and the forest seemed to hold its breath. When he opened the door and saw the leopard, his training screamed caution, but his heart told a different story. She was larger than he had ever seen, her sides swollen with unborn life, her golden coat dulled by dust and blood. One hind leg dragged behind her, leaving a dark smear on the ground. She did not growl or bare her teeth. She simply lowered herself, as if surrendering to whatever fate waited on the other side of that wooden door. Arav had been raised to respect boundaries between humans and wildlife, yet here was a boundary already broken. Slowly, carefully, he stepped back, leaving the door open. The leopard inched forward, collapsing just inside the threshold. Her breathing came in short, sharp bursts, and her body shuddered with contractions that were too close together, too intense. Arav realized with a jolt that she was not just injured, she was in labor. Panic threatened to take over, but years of solitary nights had taught him how to stay steady when fear knocked loudest. The ranger radioed for help, but the nearest wildlife veterinarian was hours away, the roads washed out by recent storms. Outside, thunder rolled like a warning. Inside, the leopard's condition worsened. Arav cleared the small room, dimmed the lights, and moved slowly, making himself small, predictable, harmless. He could feel the weight of her gaze on him, measuring his intentions. Every movement was a gamble. One wrong step could end his life, yet doing nothing would almost certainly end hers, and her unborn cubs. As the hours crawled by, the storm intensified, rain drumming on the roof like a countdown. The leopard's strength faded, her breaths became ragged, her muscles trembling with each contraction. Arav remembered a training seminar years ago about emergency wildlife births, fragments of knowledge surfacing through the fog of adrenaline. He fetched clean cloths, warm water, and positioned himself where he could help without invading her space. His hands shook, but his voice, low and steady, filled the room with calm energy she seemed to cling to. Then came the moment that nearly broke him. A contraction surged, and the leopard cried out, a sound raw and vulnerable, nothing like the fearsome roars people imagined. A cub began to emerge, but something was wrong. It was not positioned correctly, and the mother's strength was failing. Arav knew that waiting any longer would mean losing them all. Summoning every ounce of courage, he intervened, guided by instinct, respect, and a deep sense that this was bigger than fear. Time blurred into a single, breathless stretch where everything depended on trust between two beings from opposite worlds. At last, the first cub slipped free, small, slick, and impossibly fragile. For a terrifying second, it did not move. Arav's chest tightened, but then the cub twitched, letting out a thin cry that cut through the storm. The mother gathered what little strength she had left, licking the cub with fierce devotion. Tears streamed down Arav's face, unashamed, as he realized they were not done yet. 2 more contractions followed, each one stealing more from the leopard, each one testing how much hope a single night could hold. By dawn, the storm had passed. 3 cubs lay nestled against their mother, their tiny bodies rising and falling in unison. The leopard was alive but weak, her injury still severe. When the rescue team finally arrived, they moved swiftly, stabilizing her and preparing a secure transport back to a protected sanctuary. As they loaded her, she lifted her head, her eyes meeting Arav's one last time. In that silent exchange, there was no fear, only acknowledgement, as if she understood that kindness had rewritten the rules that night. Recovery was slow, but it happened. Weeks later, Arav visited the sanctuary where the leopard now lived, her leg healing, her cubs growing stronger by the day. She watched him from a distance, calm and alert, her cubs tumbling over one another in the grass. She did not approach the fence, did not need to. The story of that night had already said everything. News spread quietly, not as a spectacle, but as a reminder that compassion does not weaken nature, it completes it. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that even the wildest hearts can recognize kindness, please take a moment to like and share this video so more people can feel this hope. Stories like these survive because people choose to pass them on. And before this video ends, tell us in the comments what moment touched you the most, because your words help keep kindness alive.